Good afternoon, and it is afternoon here. This is the Desert Shaman's channel. Welcome to my channel. I appreciate you tuning in or even checking out this channel. Let me give you some words about it, though, as you do come in here and you do check this out. Be aware, okay, this is not the normal channel of like bullshit and trivial crap. This is a true information, wisdom, shamanistic channel here, okay? It's not about just being entertained by silly, moronic stuff. It's not about reviewing the news and going over and over bad things. It's about giving you enough knowledge to where you can try to use that knowledge to see a different reality, an alternate reality, to raise your consciousness, to stand in your awareness. So I just did a video called Standing in Your Awareness, and it was just, I said I was just scratching the surface there. So I want to continue on digging down a little bit further. Okay, I would suggest that you go review that video. But to encapsulate it, I'm talking about being self-realized, going to your higher awareness, the small I self, the, I am this, my name is this is my story, my history, whatever. And then there's the larger self, which is the higher self, which is supreme awareness that you can access as a witness, okay? And that will enable you to progress on in the spiritual path. But the spiritual path can be just as, what's the word I want to use here? You can accomplish much on any kind of spiritual path, but the spiritual path of being informed is one spiritual path that you can use. In other words, knowledge and wisdom sometimes triggers enlightenment just by thinking about concepts. So here we go. And again, to those who are new on this channel, me having said the fact that this channel is not entertainment, it's knowledge, you gotta think about staying with the whole video, okay? This staying like 9 seconds or 10 seconds or 17 seconds, like the officials, like the people that write books about how to succeed on YouTube. I've read that people come on for maybe 10 minutes at the most. You have to hang in there with this kind of channel because I dispense knowledge. It's like sitting in a classroom. It's like sitting in a classroom and your teacher is teaching you world history. I'm teaching you enlightenment. I'm a medicine man or a shaman, and that's the way you got to look at me. And I don't have to prove that. You'll find out by just listening to me. So let's start off, with the standing in your awareness again. And again, I'm going to use Hindu mythology, gods and goddesses, Shiva, Shakti, the 10 goddesses, that type of thing, because like I explained in my last video, this is kind of like an owner's manual to your car. This is a description, a mechanical description of how all the things in the universe work and how they're depicted by different gods and goddesses to help you as a metaphor to be able to put 2 and 2 together and see where this is going. So right off the bat on this talk on higher awareness, we're going to get down to the nuts and bolts, and it's going to be fun. Okay, it's going to be fun. I've got illustrations here lined up. So first of all, let's start with the creator of the universe, or the supreme emanation in this mythology, and that would be Shiva. Many have heard that name, Shiva and Shakti. Shiva and Shakti. Now I'm going to show you a picture of Shiva. This is actually a painting that I did of Shiva, just so you can get kind of a idea of how Shiva is depicted. I'm going to show you some things here. All of this stuff that you see, the snake and all that, and the lines on the forehead, this all has symbolism. It all has meaning. We'll kind of use this picture temporarily here for a depiction of Shakti, which would be the feminine energy of Shiva. Shiva is the male energy. Shakti is the female energy, the creative energy. So let's just stop right there for a minute. So you got Shiva, okay, and you got Shakti. Shiva and Shakti. You got Shiva, which is the male energy, and Shakti, which is the divine creative female energy. Shakti. Now, when Shakti evolves from the divine emanation, and you could think of this as God, okay, that God, if that's the way your mind goes, if that's the way you were raised, you're going to get a whole different conception of God here from me. It's not like the God in the Bible, so you could just forget that concept. But you can still use the concept of like a supreme emanating force, a creative intelligence, okay? So Shiva is this creative intelligence, and Shakti is his consort, or would be his wife, or his lover, or whatever, whatever you want to say about that. But she evolves from him. She is an energy. He is the supreme emanation, the supreme energy. And then you have Shakti, who is part of him, okay? It's his creative energy coming out. Why is it depicted as a woman or as a goddess? Because the goddess energy is creative. Yeah, the goddess energy gives birth, okay? So it is said that when Shiva birthed Shakti, or the emanation of Shakti came from him, it was for a reason of creation, okay, to create our whole reality, our whole planetary system here in the cosmos, okay? Everything just kind of like the scientists say Big Bang. Well, they're kind of close. That's kind of infantile, though, the way they describe it. It was just a Big Bang, man, like a firecracker. No, it was an emanation, okay, of energy, an emanation of energy, and with this emanation of energy came the goddess energy, Shakti, which is creation itself. Now, when Shiva did this, he was able to see himself, in a sense, okay? He was able to observe his creative energy, his creative process. It was like looking in a mirror. He could experience himself through myriads and myriads of different forms and objects that explode out of this Shakti energy, all right? I'm going to try to keep this simple, and I might go back and do some other explanations from time to time on this subject. But I will say enough on this subject in this video for you to get all kinds of understanding if you hang in there. Now here's a picture of Kali. That's spelled Kali, Kali. Kind of like this representation of her, because it's kind of erotic, and I go with erotic anytime. There's very traditional Hindu representations, but I think this one is adequate for this presentation. So let me say something about Kali, and I will also refer to notes here about her, and I will do some reading to you. But Kali is the next goddess in line after Shakti. Kali and all the other 10 goddesses are none other than Shakti. They're aspects of Shakti. They're different parts of her. Like, let's say you have an angry side and a gentle side, and you have a compassionate side, and you have a lazy side. Whatever. These are all attributes or different characteristics of the original emanation of Shakti. Okay. So Kali would be the first in the line of goddesses. So I will tell you a little something about Kali. With every step of her dance, Kali destroys the moment before and holds the future in darkness, coaxing us to be reborn into the eternal now. In every timeless moment, she leads us from her shadow of aggression to her light of nonviolence. One of the yamas, that's spelled Y-A-M-A-S, of the Yoga Sutras. Kali is the first Mahavidya because she represents time, the backdrop for creation. Her dance of time is closely related to death, where letting go and moving on fosters new life and growth. Terrifying as Kali is, we could sense that along with the whole of creation, we are entangled in her spell. Now let me tell you about some of the symbolism on here, and I'll point it out as I'm talking. Her intense imagery demands that we face hidden and uncomfortable parts of our psyche so that we may open to her light of transformation and awakening. Now her skin is pitch black, although this is not quite that dark, but you can see it is black, evoking the dark womb of unbound reality from which creation rises. She is the color of the deep, mysterious darkness of space in which the cosmos gestates. Her attire, her garland of human heads and skirt of human arms remind us of our intention to free us from the identifying with the I self and its self-serving actions. Now, I talked about the I self, and the I self is the lower self. If it was referring to me, it would be thunder, or if it was referring to you, whatever your name is, Joe, Jill, Mary, whatever. That's your identity. Whatever goes on along with you is your identity. So that is the I self. That's the small self. That's the insignificant self in a way. Now let's go to the next one. Her tools, the various weapons in her arms, accomplish her mission to free us from bondage. See, these are all metaphors, and when you look at these things, you can, once you learn the metaphor, you can tell exactly, you can reflect on the meaning, okay? So, in one hand, she holds a freshly severed head, okay? That would be this one here. She's got four arms, as you can see. She holds a freshly severed head, okay? Her trophy, the I self. As if to soften her fierceness, she forms a mudra with another hand that says, "Fear not, my child." Okay, so this is the mudra here. Okay, this is the mudra, and this is the severed head. But that severed head, which she used this knife for, is the I self, the ego, the lower self. It's not the higher self. So she's basically killing your lower self, your I self. Can it be reborn? Well, yes, it can. It's a reincarnation of sorts, only not your lifetime. It's actually your I self dies and is reborn again into pure awareness. Let us go further. Her expression, a vertical eye adorns her forehead. She is ever wakeful. Her tongue hangs from her mouth to reveal blood-dripping fangs that she uses to consume everything in creation. After all, she is time. Her dwelling. She favors cemeteries with decaying corpses that remind us of death's inevitability. As time, she dances in the vast cemetery of the cosmos where universes are born, evolve, grow old, and die in a never-ending cycle. This is how the universe works, people. This is the mechanics of life. This is the mechanics of our reality. This is the mechanics of, how everything falls into place, is destroyed, born, destroyed again, whatever, the cycles of time. Kali and Shiva. Now you'll notice here she's standing on Shiva, okay? She dances upon Shiva, who is the awareness that all time-related phenomena arise from and fall back into. So that's something that's very important. Awareness is what, phenomena arises from. Phenomena being everything we see around us, objects, whatever. And fall back into. It comes out, it arises, and it falls back into. He remains still, Shiva, that is, and forgotten under the power of her dancing feet. Her dramatic appearance and dance's time are so enchanting that we forget Shiva, our true nature. Now, Shiva is the higher awareness. Shiva is our true nature. Shiva is that point that we want to attain to, that consciousness that I said in my last video, that high spiritual awareness of which all things arise out of and all things descend back into. Thoughts, events, thoughts, everything that surrounds you in your supposed physical reality that seems real, everything that arises, thoughts arise, they fall back. Sometimes you have a thought and you follow up on it, or you have a thought and it's not so good, comes from the past. But there is no past because there's only the moment. There's only the moment. You can have thoughts of the past, but there's only the moment. You can have thoughts of the future, but there's only the moment. So past, present, and future all exist in this one moment that you are living in right as I speak, okay? There is no past, it's only your memories of the past. There is no future, it's only your projection of your thoughts thinking about what could be the future, but it's all present right now. There's no going back to the past, there's no going to the future, there only is what is where you are right now in this second. And as soon as that moment passes, Kali gobbles it up, it's gone. It's physically, there is nothing there except in your memory, okay? And we'll get into memories. We'll get into memories too. But all of this stuff that I'm talking about as I go along is going to contribute to your knowledge of how you work, okay? Who you really are and not who you think you are. Like I said in my last video, you're an illusion, you're energy. And you're basically what you are at this moment is a compilation of all the things that you learned from the past, okay, that you were indoctrinated with from the past, that you were brainwashed with from the past. You are not you. You just think you're you. Everything that you are, like I said in my past video, and I said I was going to get down to the nuts and bolts of this, everything that you think you are, you're not. It was a theft. You stole that from your parents, or they gave it to you and you incorporated it into your life. And their parents before them gave that. And so if a religious idea was passed down, or a belief system about religion, that was all indoctrinated into you, okay? And the words and the word associations that you use for different objects in your life, or when the first time you ever saw like a flower or a car or let's say a wall or a door or whatever, and how you came to learn that that was an object, name and object identification here with just pure energy. Can you see how this would have a dramatic effect on your life? Whatever you were exposed to along the line, whatever you took in, it would be like you're just a robot, a blank robot, and all of a sudden all kinds of programming, if you want to look at it that way, programming is put into this robot, programmed into this robot, and the robot does whatever is programmed into it. That's you. That's you. And you got that from your parents, and you got that from your surroundings, and you got that from everything that's going around. So you're counterfeit. You're not real. So what's real? Well, the awareness above all this bullshit. That's what's real. The awareness, the Shiva awareness, okay, is what's real. And the rest of it is the illusion that Shakti, as she is born, and Kali and these other goddesses, these are nothing but vibratory emanations that have certain principles and laws that as they expand out, they become illusory. You live in an illusion. You live in a delusion. You live in Maya, okay? The sooner you realize this stuff, the sooner it is, and this channel is all about freeing yourself from the world and the reality that surrounds us. This takes it one step further, because this isn't just about freeing yourself from the reality. It's about freeing yourself from the real reality. I mean, the world, the whole ball of wax. Yeah, we want to detach from war and all the bullshit that they're laying on our heads, but also we want to detach from life, period, from what we perceive as living. Okay, so once you go to the higher awareness, you might ascend for a while, and you might descend back down, and you might ascend for a while, and you might descend back down. And it's a process, but as you ascend into this higher awareness, each time you do that, you gain more and more knowledge about this small I self. Instead of the I am, or the large self, I am that I am, okay? I am that I am, and not who I think I am down here, not the I self. You have to comprehend what I'm saying here. And if you really are comprehending what I'm saying, right now you're going to have a form of enlightenment. Because you're not so attached to this ego, to this set of ideas that you have to act out in accordance with whatever you learn. Oh, my parents said I shouldn't do that, or oh, my parents said I should be in their religion. I can't choose my own. But if you were pure awareness, when whoever it was said, oh, this is the good, and this is bad, and this is evil, and this is right, and this is wrong, and this is your religion, this is your worldview, If you were already in this high awareness, you wouldn't necessarily have chosen what they presented to you. You might have gone, I don't know if I like that concept. I don't know if I like that concept. I don't know if I want to take that in as my belief system. I don't know if I want to take that in and let it become who I am. I don't know if I want that. I might want to choose my own belief system, my own way of living, my own whatever. But see, you didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice. So now you do. Now you do, because now you can go to this higher awareness. You can access it. Just thinking about it should be somewhat of an enlightenment. Because then if you're looking down almost like you're out of body, picture that, you're out of body, you're over in the corner and you're looking at your body and you're looking at yourself and you're looking at how you're acting, okay? That's kind of a concept of going to the higher awareness, okay? Or maybe you're just riding right here on this spiritual laser beam, okay? Looking down and seeing like, oh, what is he doing now? Or what am I doing now? Or what is the I self doing now? Where did that come from? What was the origins of that? Now, you might not readily know the origins of something, your latent tendencies. These are called vasanas, by the way. V-A-S-A-N-A-S, vasanas. They embed themselves in your subtle body, okay? So we have bodies. We have the physical body, we have the subtle body, and then we have the causal body, okay? And sometimes these traits, what we call latent tendencies, these actions, these robotic actions, these robotic thoughts, these latent tendencies, you've heard the word latent, that means hidden, okay? So when you have a latent tendency, it just rests there. And what does it do? It activates itself through one of your energy centers, your chakras, depending on which energy center would associate with that vasana. So like if you have issues with relationships or love or whatever, if you have issues with that from the past, that would be a vasana that is located in your heart chakra, which is red, okay? That's an energy center. Or let's say you were told, to shut up a lot as a kid and not speak and hold your tongue and all that stuff. Well, that might revolve around the throat chakra, okay, in speaking. Or if you were told that sex was bad and you should abstain from this and that, anything erotic, that might revolve around your second chakra on up. Okay, near the navel, an inch and a half below the navel, your sexual center. So any time that a vasana lodges itself, it's because of some incident that happened in your past. It creates a knot or whatever. It's some incident that happened in your past, in your brainwashing, in your exposure to this false reality imposed by Kali and imposed by the rest of the goddesses. Now let's look at this not in a totally negative way. Let's look at this in a positive way, because each goddess has a light side and a dark side, a shadow side and a light side. Well, it's the same with you. You have your shadow side and your light side, okay? So when you hear about people talking about, oh, I'm doing some shadow work here, which is good to do. I'm doing some shadow work. I'm looking at my dark side, or I'm looking in Lakota, they would call it Nagi, the ghost self. I'm looking at that and I'm trying to integrate it, or I'm trying to accept it, or I'm trying to work that out. Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about here with this realization, okay, of what makes you up, okay? Do you have character flaws? Do you have things like addictions, or do you have different things that you don't necessarily like about yourself, or that you want to change? This helps you with that by going to that higher awareness and operating from that level. But you're not operating as ego, you're operating as knowing. You're operating as what I call a witness. You're operating as the watcher, okay? The watcher doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff. Your little small games and your little small dramas in life. It just looks at it. It just looks at it. That's pure awareness. It just looks at it. It's not judgmental, doesn't say it's right, doesn't say it's wrong. But in the mere looking at it, there's progress, okay? There's progress of integrating that higher awareness, okay, into your I self, your small self. To eventually what happens is that you're no longer caught up in patterns. You're no longer you are of the mind's you comprehend with the mind that, hey, you no longer need to act a certain way. You no longer need to be that person who you supposed you were. Okay? Let's say you have issues with money and prosperity, okay? Or let's say you have issues with sex, or let's say you have issues with anything. Knowing the manual of life, going through with the Hindu gods and goddesses and their attributes, and seeing how they reflect a certain idea or a certain process, the deeper you get into this stuff, the more you're going to realize, okay? And the more you're going to learn, and the more you're going to ascend instead of constantly being in this lower state, the more you're going to ascend, and matters are going to start taking care of themselves. They're going to start working themselves out. Because just having the knowledge that you're blocking yourself from certain things is a freeing step right there. Just having the knowledge of that. Oh, I block things from me. Okay? Why do you block things from you? If you block prosperity, was it because your parents told you that you should be more spiritual and that money was bad? If you block having a free sexual expression, was it because your parents told you that's bad and that's taboo, and that sex should only be in marriage like some straight-laced religious organization? Imagine the damage that does to you if you go with your primal desire to express yourself freely in that area, but yet you block it. You block it on a mental level. You block it because you think it's bad. Even if you don't think it's bad anymore, it's still there until you work this shadow work out. Okay? Now, I think this might be a good place for me to kind of leave it today. We're still on Kali. We went through Shiva. We went through Shakti, the creative energy of the universe, and then we're in Kali, which is, an aspect that helps you through shadow and light, because there's a light side to Kali too. And that light side, one of them is seeing that everything that is happening right now is all the past and all the future. The past and the future and the present are all one. So just that concept there, right there alone, you realizing that things, colleague time, she represents time, gobbles up stuff. Soon as it passes, it no longer has to be a memory or a feeling or anything. Now, we're also going to get into other aspects in future videos about how words and concepts affect your physical being, because every word that you say, and I said a little bit about this in my last video, every word that you say has a vibration. Every thought is a word. If you think about a car, it's a word, okay? If you think about love, that's a word. All of these concepts, when put together in belief systems and ideas and that type of thing, have an effect on your physical being, your physical well-being. So when you start figuring out vibratory emanations and vibrations and feelings and energy moving around, then you can actually release negative energy and release things that are hindering you in your life, that are causing you distress and anxiety and suffering, and making you feel ill at ease or whatever. So I'm going to leave it there today. If you want to find out more about this, you'll tune in from time to time to this channel and kind of browse around a little bit. And I always post my consciousness raising techniques, meditation techniques. And I post all kinds of things, trance drumming, taking you out of different realities, and creating alternate realities, because that too helps, because then you see that whatever reality that you're hung up in doesn't really exist. Doesn't really exist. Anything that you want to exist will exist. Anything that you don't want to exist won't. Nothing is other than what you believe it to be. And even these teachings, after you get to that higher point of awareness, will be meaningless because you'll already be there. All right, I'm going to leave it there today and tune in for next time. Adios.